Back again. Very special guest tonight from Turkey. A few time zones away from where we're at right now. We'd like to welcome Engin Terzi. How you doing, sir? Yeah, there's a little bit of chit chat going on the internet right now. It's not good news. It's terrible for our friends, but you know, what are you gonna do? What did you think about the WAL Engin in a general? Yeah.
There's a lot of matches that people wanted to see, like Travis Bagent left-handed with Andre Pushkar, and they couldn't get it because the WAL contract. Now all that
Yeah.
stuff is gone, so maybe we'll get to see some of those matches.
I really hope so. I really hope so. But some people, after pulling in such a big tournament with high prize money, and maybe they would lose their interest to pull in smaller events. I mean, when I say smaller, I mean the smaller prize money.
Right.
Because we know that Travis didn't pull for so many years because he wasn't satisfied with the, money. You understand? And he come back, I think, because of the WAL, because it was high enough for him, and
Mhm.
I don't know if he would continue with the such professional level of the work today, I, I don't know, like beside the WAL, you know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
do.
in the
Yeah.
it's difficult too because of where, in my opinion, where like we'll take WAF in one corner and we'll put WAL in the other corner. Okay, in terms of the rules, in terms of the way that those tournaments are run, as far as the maybe the tightness of those rules and the even just how different the setups were. If the WAL does go away, it's gonna be very hard for people to come back and adapt. Do you think that's the case to like such tight refereeing?
I mean, it is. I don't know if it's because of that. Of course, it will take some time for them to adjust themselves to the strict rules of the arm wrestling world. But I wasn't talking about that. I was just thinking that I don't know, people to get ready, train for like $20,000, you understand, and then suddenly it goes to like $700, $1,000, you understand. I
Sure.
think it will reduce the level a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People will be as good as they were, I think.
I think so too. We've been talking a great deal on this show almost every week, Engin, about how the WL was doing something good, but because they had not yet invited Eastern Europeans, they hadn't invited Turkey. We didn't have the Ukraine or Russia and a lot of very strong countries, Georgia and Hungary, etc. But we were hoping that next year that the other countries were all going to be invited. And what we always were interested in, what did people in Turkey and other countries around, did they consider the WL to be serious, or was it more like not a serious league?
I don't know what other people thinks, they find it, different or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit here because of the rules over there so different than how we get used to here. And they, of course, it is serious. You can see that there are like top athletes are pulling, and I see that because more it gets popular, more their money involvement, everything, the level gets higher, and people do more serious preparation for that. It is it would be disrespectful to not to take it seriously. But of
Exactly.
course, the rules are a bit different, and since we are not allowed to compete over there, so we never try to really understand, how it is. Because if you are not gonna pull, why do you need to so much care about, about the rules? You just watch it. You understand?
Sure.
You
Right,
try
right.
you try to enjoy as much as you can, as a spectator.
Was it
You don't.
almost
You don't. You,
was it almost
what's that?
interesting? Was it almost interesting to look at it like that? You mentioned that you're looking at it as a spectator. Was it almost interesting being more of a fan of arm wrestling when you watched that than it was like really trying to analyze it as a competitor?
The truth is, like I didn't watch a lot. Why? Only the whenever I see on Facebook, I see like top guys, and whenever I see them, like I more care about the guys than the event.
Right.
Hmm.
If I see Devon Arat pulling John Brzenk, you understand, I take a time and just check it, you understand, like how it is. And no matter in which under which rule they are, they're always interested. I mean, even if it was practice, it's still interesting. You understand? Even
Right.
if they
Yeah.
would be
You're looking
laying
at
on the
these.
floor,
You're looking at the
still,
athletes and the competitors themselves. You're not necessarily looking at the rule set and all that kind of stuff. It's right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The quality is always there. If the top guy is there, the quality is there, no matter what the rule is.
Hmm. So how long have you been pulling again?
About 26 years.
Okay. And it sounds like when you're talking about arm wrestling, you're still just as big of a fan as you've always been.
What's that?
It sounds like to me that when you're talking about the sport, you're just as big of a fan as you've always been. Like, does it still get you really excited to talk about arm wrestling, to watch it and everything?
No, no. Like 10 years ago, it was like till 10 years ago, it was like biggest part of my life. After a point, I kind of lost my interest in arm wrestling. It doesn't so much enjoy me.
Not so much like it used to.
No, in the past, I was looking for every single detail, following what's going on, who is best there, who is, what kind of technique he does, his abilities. I would analyze everything, Right now, I only just look for I don't know, if I see something like high quality, you understand, and then
Yes.
I follow it. Other than I don't follow every single detail. Like in the past, I would know almost everything about the North American arm wrestling. Right now, I don't even know who is the best there.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
So it's kind of wrong time of my life to do interview with me about.
That's all right. That's all right.
It doesn't matter because you're still an expert on training, and people have been asking us for months, how come you don't have Engin on? How come you don't have Engin on? We have all these questions. So you can still help other people get better, man, even if you're sick of the sport. You know what I mean?
I'm not really sick of it, but it is not as big as it used to be.
Yeah.
In the past, I could write hours and hours and hours about arm wrestling. Right now, I'm just finding, hardly subject to write about arm wrestling because it's
Mm-hmm.
all about, how much you love.
Understood. Um, Let me ask you a couple questions, and that people sent in because I think they're pretty interesting. And people are curious. I think it was a year ago before, or maybe it was 2 years now, when you did the last WAF. You posted that you didn't do really any training on the table and concentrated on just getting stronger in the gym. And that's kind of like the opposite of what people in the United States do. Can you talk about that style a little bit?
You mean my preparation before I won the last wars?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, but this is how it was that in the past when I was healthy, I could pull every 2 days, every 3 days, I could pull. And after a point, I get injured, my elbows start hurting so much. And I don't know, when I pull, I mean, I get hurt. So I was, how to say, if I pull even 3 weeks before the World Championships, I couldn't recover. So that is how I competed for years. I was like, okay, you lifted a lot, the competition pull, and I was pulling, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I was competing, so I was always hurt. And when
Mm-hmm.
you are hurt, you are also inconfident. You understand? You don't have the confidence because you are hurt. My style in the past was like all about hitting, side hitting. So when you are hurt, you are afraid to hit. And what made me best in the past was that hits, side hits. So once I lost that ability, I became very, I don't know, like regular puller, with
Hmm.
control, but not like, explosiveness to the pipette. So I decided, I went to the Europeans in Sofia in 2015, and I had 4 months before till the wars. So I decided that I'm gonna go this time well trained, but not hurt. So
Right.
I won't hurt. So I can hit as much as I can. I don't care about the endurance. So I did only two table time, between the Europeans and the wars, and the last table time was 45 days before the senior competition, and I don't know, it worked very well. I wasn't hurt. I was brave. More, I mean, healthy, braver I was. And the truth is, that tournament, my right arm, which has been hurt terribly for years, and since 2007, I didn't get any medal international in European and wars with right arm. Last time I won medal was I pulled Zolev. I took second to him
Okay.
in 2007 wars. And this time, with such a strategy, my right arm was better than my left arm, but because of the injury that happened, with my belly in the final match with the Kazakh guy, I couldn't pull with the right arm. But I'm like my right arm was 10% better than left arm.
Mm.
I
Hmm.
realized one thing: my lifting type is more like partial arm wrestling, so that is why I can, survive without table. But
Okay.
but I did one tough match in the final with the left arm. It was near a minute long. If that match happened on the say second round, I would place the 10th. Because the final match, was, it took everything from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was lucky that it happened in the final match. The other matches were so quick.
Yeah. So basically, you traded in health and explosiveness in for any kind of endurance. Kind of put all your eggs in one basket to make sure you can get through the tournament.
Yeah, yeah. I realized one thing that I have a good muscle memory.
Sure.
As long as my elbows are healthy,
Mm-hmm.
you know it comes, but when I'm hurt, it doesn't matter how much I have trained my arm at the table. I still can't do what I want to do.
Yeah. When you have those elbow pains or any kind of joint pain in that way, it makes you hesitate. And at that level,
Yes, yes.
especially the hesitation, you're gonna get smushed if you don't. If you're hesitating like that, you're just gonna get killed. So yeah, you take out that lack of
Yeah, but you
hesitation,
are
you're the
hurt.
one attacking.
Hmm. So I got one question that came in about your pinning technique in particular, and were there exercises that you do to develop pinning muscles?
Did we lose Engin?
Uh-oh. If we did, that would be sad.
He looks awfully
He isn't.
He looks very frozen.
You there?
Oh, there
Yeah,
we are. We're back.
he just came
Yeah.
back.
You want to go ahead and
So
ask
did you
that
hear my
question?
question? Yeah, it was basically, do you have any exercises that you develop to help, pin the last 2 inches, say?
1 second.
You back with us, Engin?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Josh.
So basically, are there certain exercises that you do to develop the ability to pin people? Like the last couple inches, are there any exercises you do that help specifically in that area?
No, I don't.
I don't know. It's a question they
If,
asked. It's actually a ridiculous question. I'm reading it. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out a way to say it so it sounds smart. But basically, it's like, we all do this stuff every time somebody famous comes on. It's like, how do you get a stronger bicep? How do you get a stronger forearm? How do you do this? And I mean, it's interesting, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and you got to work your ass off in the gym for 5 years, and you're going to get stronger little by little. And it seems to be that's what people do in general. So just work hard.
in fact, in arm wrestling, almost everyone knows, how to train, but the secret is with the coordinating the muscle groups, and it is not about how you lift, and it is about your ability, your intelligence, your muscle coordination ability. Once you do it, you can create a synergy. You understand? You
Yes.
you may be strong in different parts, but when you can coordinate these parts together, you understand that is making the difference. I think that's why John Brzenk is so successful because there's incredible muscle coordination.
So do you think that is a factor of genetics, hard work? Like you said, is there some kind of ability that you're born with, or is that something that people can train and learn?
I think people can train and learn, but even if it is up to the person's potential, yeah, I mean, nobody borns with arm wrestling ability, but this is we find out. More we try, then we find out. If we have that potential, that ability or not. But I don't know. Like when I was growing, I was a very weak guy. In the school, even the girls were beating me. I was 15, 16. My stepmother was beating me. My sister was beating me in arm wrestling. And then I seriously started to train. I was 19. I took second in the world. 20. I won my first world. But I trained like crazy. And I wouldn't train now that way that I train. It was just so crazy. No plan, nothing. I was just like whatever comes to my mind, I was doing. Now people are more lucky that they have so much information around to reach how to train properly in arm wrestling.
Yeah, it's a whole different world now, isn't it? It's a whole different world
What's
now,
that?
huh?
Yes. People are lucky, but I will tell you something. When people's how to say, uh, I don't know, what they have is like more they have. I think the lazier they become. They are trying to go to the I don't know top with the easiest way, but I trust me, the harder way to go top is the more permanent way to you know to stay there. You there is no easy way. There is no way. More you need to really pay the price. People are always looking. Okay, this guy has a secret. Just tell me the secret, so I will do it. And no, there is nothing like that. There is nothing.
Yeah, how can
You
I become a WAF champ in 6 months?
I don't know. Even I can't do it right. So the truth. I have
Yeah.
students. I train them, and like even 20 guys, exactly the same training they are doing. Some cannot even place in top three at nationals. Some place in like third place. Some wins. Some wins the world championships, and some just can't do anything outside. It's all up to. I teach
See, Turkey is pretty far away at the end of the day.
It's not bad, yeah. I mean, it's been going pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, considering he's about 10,000 miles away. Meanwhile, everybody over here is going rabid about WAL. Do you think we should? I don't know. I don't know if Engin's feet is going to improve or not. He seems to be totally frozen.
It does look very frozen.
While he's frozen, I'm going to talk about what happened today with WAL because I personally am very pissed off about it. And I posted a few minutes ago that maybe we can get some promoters together to kind of.
Same thing.
There he's back. There he's back.
We got you back, Engin?
Yes, I hear you.
Cool.
I was just getting ready to go on a rant while you were quiet, and so everybody's gonna have to wait for that. But oops, did he go away again? All right, so continuing my rant while Engin is buffering. It's like it's.
There we go.
Let's go. This is why I love this show, John. Nothing wrong. Nothing ever goes wrong on this show, man. It's smooth as silk every single week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Engin, what's your favorite exercise for your hand? Do you have anything you do specifically for hand power?
Hand power. I mean, not really. You know, I used to. I don't know. My best exercise in my best times were just on a thick handle one arm pull-ups, chin-ups.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was even able to do pull-up on the, there was some pull-up bars that you could montage between the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was doing pull-up with one hand in this, like on the tips, not exactly tips here, but just I was putting the first
Mid-finger.
knuckles like this.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, and then doing pull-up in this way.
I see.
Yeah, it was very good for the beginning position arm wrestling. Because the part that is connecting the hand here was getting so strong, and then while the pressure is coming from your fingertips and to keep your wrist still solid, it was really helping your wrist solidness here. Some people do flat bar, their fingers goes like this and the wrist goes like this, still pull. In whatever position you pull, your tendons, muscles, will get used to in that position. If you do this way, your hand will get strong in this way. If it goes like this, you are still doing pull up, but your hand, wrist, everything you are losing. Once you lose here, you lose everything, honestly.
Yeah, I remember reading something, I believe it was on the Northeast board a long time ago, where you wrote something that, if you arm wrestle properly and you have proper control, they never feel your fingertips. Basically, if you arm wrestle properly, you get the position you need, that your opponent should really never feel your fingertips in the back of their hand. So
I mean, I was holding my hand, like
yes.
This loose grip, but whenever I was just covering my hand like this, and then once they hit me, they were just feeling you understand, my fingertips. Once they applied power, then it was getting involved, but I wasn't squeezing their hands.
Exactly. I remember reading that a while ago, and it's always stuck with me as far as like one of the basics that, if someone comes in that's new and they're not quite, they don't quite sure how to understand flat finger pressure. It's just something that really seems to get through to newer people who, can't quite grasp that.
Yeah, I talked a lot about it, and I realized that, when you put the pressure in your hand here, if you do wrist curl, if you are curling, just say like 50 pounds, more it gets farther in your hand, it becomes, harder on your hand. So if your fingers are going this much, if you don't have this part of your fingers strong, and if your fingers are stretching like this, so your wrist will have more pressure. So to keep the pressure in your hand, you need to have your finger solidness in this way. So that stronger here, these knuckles are stronger, you will have the pressure as much as closer to your wrist. More it goes like this, more wrist will have the. So first you need to control the opponent in your hand so that wrist can apply its maximal power. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, it's just just pure leverage, basically, just efficiency.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I kind of figured this out before many of the people in the world did. So at that time I had big advantage.
Yeah, that helps if that's if you figured that out before they did, sure.
Yeah. That's how you make the difference,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that even today, Engin, most people do not train their fingers anywhere near as much as they train their arms. I think it's still a weakness amongst many pullers.
It's a big mistake because even if you, I mean, if you are lifting weight or if you are doing pull up, if you don't have the proper grip, you can't lift as much as your strength should. You know what I mean? Like for example, if you didn't have the a good supination and pronation strength, just imagine that, just think this way. If you have the dumbbell,
Hmm.
you know, with that dumbbell, even to do wrist curl or the arm curl, you do with that dumbbell, you need to find the perfect, balance, you understand,
Mm.
to lift. If you hold a little bit from this way will turn you, so you won't be able to use your bicep strength because you are losing your forearm control. So this is how you should consider. If somebody is just, how to say, like curling your pronator this way,
Hmm.
your bicep will not help you. So that is why, your hand needs to be strong. When I say hand, I don't mean only the finger, I don't mean only the wrist, not only the front wrist here, but you also need to have enough of supination power and pronation power. So this is everything. But you do these things with the hand. You don't do with the bicep. That is, arm strength is effective as much as the hand is solid. Like
Hmm.
if you do pull up, I mean, you can't get the good grip. You understand? You cannot do good pull up. You understand? You just need to hold very good. You cannot do pull up on a bar if the bar would try to get out of your hand like this.
Right.
You know. Yeah. So I'm just saying that your hand needs to be strong, even to do back pressure and bicep strength, lats, everything. It starts from here. It is the opponent hand that you want to bring down. It's not your bicep that brings that down. You need to, there is a the pronator lock that you need to curve with your wrist. There is a
Hmm.
brachial. You need to do back pressure, I mean, with your lats to open that.
Hmm.
You understand? And so that is the part that you control with your hand, not with your bicep. I don't know if it's near 4 o'clock here. I don't know if I'm explaining good enough, but
No, you're making a lot of sense, and I'm listening very carefully because everything you say makes it's like a clinic. Everybody's listening, believe me. Um, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking. I told you earlier, Engin, that I was at a climbing gym, and it's very intensive on finger strength, but most of the time your fingers are here. You're not doing much stuff like that. So now I'm starting to reconsider how valuable it is.
I'm sure that other types of trainings are very well too. I mean, good too, but that is not the way to shape the hand for arm wrestling.
Mm.
You don't want to get strong in this shape. You understand? You need to build your solidness in this shape.
Hmm.
And is
That's
Your, your
it's
your hand goes here only if your hand is weak. If somebody takes your hand like
right.
here, then you get that position.
And also that kind of brings us to another like a side topic of that, which is straps. Because the strap, and especially with the in today's climate anyway, I don't know how it was 10 years ago, but today people have kind of really started to realize that with that strap, I don't need all of that hand strength to be able to activate my back pressure, my lat. If I have a strap put on the correct way and I have the right setup in that, that strap kind of evens everything out for me. I know you were a great strap puller. Um, was that something that you really really worked on, or is it something that you kind of had a unique style for, or
For what? For stapling or?
strap pulling? Yes.
Yeah, and you are saying that this kind of finger solidness you don't need in the strap. You are saying?
I think you need it, but the strap definitely helps with connecting the arm to your opponent's arm with the strap.
Just just imagine one thing. Whenever you're doing, for example, this kind of like how to say, once you close your fingers,
Mm.
you are in muscle. But once it is straight like this, it is more training your tendons. You understand?
Okay.
And what I'm just saying that when you have the pressure from your fingertips this way, if you are thinking that it is only your fingers training, you are mistaken. Here, you don't get support from your finger muscles.
Right.
And so when you do pull-up like this, it is also training your wrist too. You understand? It is easier to hold something and then do this and keep your wrists, solid. But when your hand is open like this, it is many people just loses their wrist
Right.
because they grab something. So this is not only for the fingers, it is also good for the wrist, and it is very important in the strap when two people are just doing back pressure. It is the wrist that whose wrist stays solid. That survives. The other one just loses their wrist. So I don't do this kind of training only for the finger. It is for the wrist too. Many people they pull up, they just pull, and their wrist just they lose.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen many people do weighted pull-ups, and they're doing them like this, and I'm thinking to myself, that's why are you getting strong there?
I mean, if you would want your wrist to have that position in arm wrestling, yeah, it would make sense. But I wouldn't want my wrist to be like this in the competition.
Exactly.
Once my wrist, I lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
This, John Brzenk, I think he said that the importance of the arm wrestling muscle groups is starting from the finger and it goes down. I mean, the most important is the hand, then it goes down to the less important. I agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating to me, man. I mean, I love every bit of it because I'd probably concentrate on my hands and fingers more than anything else. And a lot of people say that that's a bad idea, but I'm just visualizing what you say, and it makes a lot of sense to me.
But just at the same time, you need to think that this is how to say, this is helpful as much as you can bring your opponent close to your side of the table.
Right.
People, they don't want to lose their hand, and they just hold, and then they lose their arm angle because they don't want to lose the hand. The hand strength is not about if you are losing your wrist or not. The hand strength you can test once both guys are bringing the opponent's hand to their body side here, and then you can see if the wrist is strong or not. And some people just hold their opponent, and then their arms opening like this, and they say, "Hey, I didn't lose the wrist." So just hold here, and then you will see if you are losing the wrist or not. You understand? There needs to be some power behind the hand so that you can really test your wrist strength.
Right. So
Just imagine this way: there are two guys here pulling, and both are at 90 degree, and then without losing your pronator here, you do this. I mean, this is enough to get everything.
right.
Because you do this, you are making your angle closer to your body while you are widening your opponent's angle. That is why this wrist is the most important part of arm wrestling. As long as you use the wrist not to opponent's angle, but to your angle. If you are able to do this, this is, I can say that 50% of everything. You understand? If you are able to hold your opponent and then just control his brachyradialis with your lat, and then curl his pronator with your wrist without losing your pronator. And then, I mean, the guy's position would be like this. He can curl. His pronator is bent, his bicep is open, and the rest is just, all you need to do is just this. That is, you just need to bring the match to your side and then widen your opponent's side. That is, many people are training their wrist with the weights, but they don't really train at the table. In fact, the table is the most important part of the wrist training. They go table and they do this, or they go this. No, this is the time that you really need to train your wrist actually at the table, because curling those dumbbell or any other thing is not like curling the opponent's pronator to your ankle. You do this actively at the table. When you do the weightlifting, you just hold the dumbbell. You do like 10 times this or something like this. It is not like that. You just need like 1 rep maximal strength to curl all the time. It's just like 1 rep. When you arm wrestle, it's just 1 rep. You don't do like this during the match.
Right.
Yeah. So that is those are assistant training. They are not actual wrist training. Actual wrist training is at the table. So you go table 30 times, you pull in one table session, for example. So you do 30 times 1 rep maximal wrist curling. So more you do this, more you have the hand and wrist control. But people go, they just attack on fingers, or they want to hook. They don't do this, but they go like supination and diving in like this.
Right.
But they don't
Right.
actually use it. So this needs to be trained at the table.
I understand what you're saying. I think you're right. I think, just speaking of my own training, which is the only thing I can do somewhat intelligently, you're right. I definitely isolate things much more than I should, and I don't concentrate on that kind of motion on the table. And I think it does create holes in your technique that other people, can very easily manipulate if they have done the work to develop it. I think that most people don't concentrate like you do, Engin, and with the people you train on, specific hand training like that. And I think it's very interesting. Do you isolate individual fingers, or do you basically concentrate on that one position?
I do different type of finger trainings.
Okay.
I do like those, the wrapping handle.
Mm-hmm.
I do the wrapping handle without wrapping. It's not wrapped. I just bring my fingers here from the cable. I do finger curls from the cable.
Okay.
So those rolling things are not good. Those rolling things, they just roll in your hand. It doesn't actually train your hand. And I also do between my legs. I do the dumbbell curl. I bring the dumbbell between my legs down and then up. I used to do that in rowing position. Like I was just pulling the dumbbell in a rowing position, the static hold the lat there, and then
Yep.
with losing my lat, I was doing with the dumbbell, thick dumbbell. I was doing, finger training. I can also, I was also doing maybe in the old times armbender magazines. You see those were those finger machines.
Oh yeah.
When people do those finger machines, they just hold and then they are like this. I mean, if whenever you squeeze your fingers, if your wrist is having this position, just throw that in the garbage can. You don't do that. If I put my opponent's hand like this, and then whenever I squeeze my finger like this, I mean, the fingers are the servants of the wrist. The connector is wrist. The fingers needs to, work in a way not to affect the wrist in a negative way. Just to squeeze your fingers is causing your wrist to be like this. It is just so terrible thing,
Yes.
So how you need to do is whenever you do the machine, you need to train this way so that wrist will not be like you shouldn't do palm pressing like this. That's not
Right.
for arm wrestling. You just need to hold, but your wrist shouldn't hang like this either. You need to hold with it. Yeah, and then just fingers. This is how it should be.
All right. So going on with your philosophy of the most important part being the hand and wrist, moving down to the forearm, what kind of stuff do you do to isolate that?
I didn't exactly understand. How do you say?
You told us a lot about how you train your fingers and wrists. So what kind of things do you do for your forearm?
When you say like forearm, do you mean the wrist, supination, pronation?
Saying specifically, this muscle.
You do. I do also the dumbbell wrist curl. I do also the wrapping handle wrist curls. I do, and I also do some pressing. But the truth is, how to say, I have students and they can train the things heavier than I do in a correct way.
Right.
But we go table, we do the exact same thing, For years we do the same thing. We go table and I beat him because he can't create the good enough of coordination. He can't do that. So it is as I said, that there is no magic. Everyone knows how to train. There are so many videos out there. You understand? But the I think the person's intelligence and the understanding and ability to create the coordination, because just think this way, you are just training everything separately. You train your finger separately, wrist separately, front wrist separately, brachioradialis, bicep, pronator, supinator, lat. You just do everything. But whenever you go table, what makes a difference to be able to use them together. And you also, you are not lifting weight there. You have an opponent. You have tall arms front of you. You need to understand where your opponent is gonna pull, where he's gonna hit, if he's gonna dive, how quick you are. You need to, there was one guy, his name is Mazgan Shamiev. When I won the last Worlds, he took fourth place. 40 days later, he went and beat Oleg Zokin, Zlotitser. Yeah. But if I would pull the way that Oleg pulled him, if I would pull Oleg Zog would kill me. But if I would pull as Oleg Zog pull against him, the Mazgan would crash me. But I pull in a way that I should, and also did this fast enough that I flashed it in 1 second, because I knew that the guy just stands like this and he just dives in, just so quickly. He just quickly pin Zog. So with him, I stayed far, and then I knew that he was gonna come here. Whenever he hears the go, he was gonna come here. So I didn't think that I need to hold his arm and pin. I pull in the way of thinking that he's gonna come here. So I just pull my own hand where he's gonna come. So whenever I did this, so he just come to that way. It's like Aikido. I use his own power. He come to me, and I knew he was gonna. I moved in a way that he's coming. So he came forward. So I just help him to come more forward, and then pin him. But if I would pull like Zog pull him, he would crash me. So this is what I'm saying, that But if I would pull Zog would kill me, because I can topple his and I can beat him a hook. So I'm just saying that I gave this example just to help you understand that no matter how you train with the weights, it is the what you can get from the table. The table training is really not something you can teach. But if the guy doesn't have that ability to create the coordination and everything, you understand? It's not gonna happen. Sorry, but you need to get it here. You need to get it.
Yes. Yeah. You're creating through coordination. You're really just you're manipulating a situation. So you can, and I'm sure for you, much of it is second nature at this point. You probably don't necessarily think as much as you used to about it. You can pretty much feel how it's going to go.
Yeah.
But really, you're just like, when you're talking about this guy is setting up sideways and he comes forward. You're really setting a trap for his move, basically just coming with his angle for him, creating a nice little space where there's really no pressure in a lot of ways. And the coordination and manipulation of a match on a table, that's really, when you talk about coordination using a bunch of muscle groups together, we're really trying to use all those muscle groups together to isolate as few muscle groups on our opponent as possible.
Yes. Because the guy is like, while he's just using his wrist, you are a little bit loading from your front, it's a little bit brachioradialis, and then you do a wrist curl and rowing, and then the pronation at the same time. He's just with only the wrist, he's just trying to fight against your 3-4 muscle groups. You understand?
Yes.
And that is how John Brzenk was doing. Look at John Brzenk. He's just being, whatever he is doing, he is just concentrating on one point with whole shoulder, hand, and everything. You understand? That guy, I don't think he's like a Superman or something, but he is just like creating incredible. Uh, how do you pronounce it? Synergy or
Yep.
synergy?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is what he's doing. That is why he is the best ever. The guy is just so great, and it's because he knows how to just if he's going hook, he knows how to be one part in there. If he wants to pronate outside, I don't know. He's amazing guy. He's old now. He doesn't pull, and maybe he can't pull as effective as he used to. But it doesn't change the fact that he is just, I don't know, Michael Jordan of arm wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
No matter who beats him now, how many million times, it doesn't change. People just, I dislike about it. If
Yeah.
he comes to years old, somebody beats him, and they are like, oh yeah, he's nothing. What are you talking about? This guy. I mean, just come on. The things that he has done, just do like 10% of it before you talk about him in a negative way.
Mm.
Yeah, or even try to compare somebody else. As far as an arm wrestling mind goes, I don't know if we're ever gonna see that again.
I mean, there is a quality that I don't think that everyone can see that. I mean,
Right.
with my eyes, see it. And maybe some people don't see it. Maybe whenever they look at him and someone else, they don't see so much difference. But whenever I look at him, the way he is arm wrestling, and I can see the difference from all others. No matter if they beat him or not, he's different.
Yeah.
Mm.
And he has experienced so many injuries. Even then, he always find a way to pull. So he could, his infraspinatus was injured. He was just going, mostly topple. He couldn't go side pressure. I don't know. He always finds. But trust me, the injury thing is a terrible thing. It makes you lose quality because you can do whatever you want at the table. You only need to. I mean, you can only use some parts of your body, and then with time you look a little bit not special anymore. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. I do understand.
Well, with everybody training as hard as they are, and as you said, there's a lot of videos. It's easy to learn the right way to train and to focus hard. And if you're a person who has all of the gifts and the ability to drive yourself, then a small difference between you and the next person will make a difference.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Engin. You train a lot of people. So when you talk about the coordination that's necessary in order to become successful, can you see that in certain people? And are there ways that you help them develop it?
I mean, I mean, I can see, but I don't go and choose. You understand? There are people who are interested in arm wrestling, and I mean, I can see some of them have the coordination, but they don't have enough of power. Some of them have power, they don't have enough courage to step. You understand? You really need to be a brave person too. You need to go there and put your heart there. You can't be just like a scared person.
Right.
I mean, it is like a different thing to go to the ring and then box against a real person than hitting a sandbag. You understand? It's a different thing. You really, yeah, a few things needs to be with you. You need to train well. You need to, I don't know, have experience. You need to have ability. You need to have strength. You need to have courage. You need to put all of them. Then it is making you someone. If some of these are missing, you understand? Trust me. No matter how good you are at the trainings, you are not that good at the competition. I see that some people are weak in their minds. They are not strong enough in the mind. So I don't think that they can be successful. They need to be a genetic freak, that is just so much stronger than his opponents. Then yeah, maybe he can win with a weak mind. But just if you just really look at the top athletes in the world, almost all of them are smart and how to say, brave guys.
Mm.
Yeah, you don't see scared champions around.
Right. And it's very difficult too. The higher level you get, the details get so much smaller. And I'm not
Yes.
sure how many people see that as well.
There's a question coming in from Patty Engin, who is a really good question. Do you have ways that you read your opponent's body positioning to learn how to take advantage of them?
I mean, do I have, say again, do I have way to
So
beat
like,
them?
yeah, I mean, I think what she's getting at is because you have had success in a lot of different techniques, are there ways that you look at your opponent and decide how you are going to attack them that other people might not know?
I don't think so. Everyone, just the truth is, at the world level, everyone knows what their opponent is gonna do it. I don't think that, I have anything, maybe I don't think that, I can see so much more than what they see, but maybe I can do something against it, maybe a little bit better than, other people because of my experience and years of pulling. Maybe. I'm not saying that but I don't think that because when you go to the world championships, everyone knows what they are doing. Everyone knows, and I see the new young guys. After this U21 youth class started, I see that it at the beginning I didn't so much support this. I was like, oh, we have U18 and now U21. What is that? But whenever I see that so many young guys coming from that class and giving very hard time to the senior classes, I realized that it was a very good thing because they were those junior guys when they are 18, they are just stepping up to senior class and they were getting crushed. They were not only getting crushed in a physical way, but the both psychological way they were getting crushed. But U21 gave them a chance to keep their own, you understand? And then get ready. I mean, if I don't know, you came to the Worlds last year, you saw, and this year again, I saw, at the Europeans that U21 class in some of the weight classes is very near to senior class level.
I agree.
And I see that these guys are pulling very well, but the only thing is that they need more experience. But there are so incredible guys, so incredible, especially guys from Georgia. They are just amazing, genetically gifted, and they are, as I said, a while ago, very brave guys, very brave guys. In the cultures that not so much, how to say, mixed with the modern world. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of protected their own, like how to say, they how to say, like think about the old American culture when the men were like more like men, women were like
Sure.
more woman, and like man is just brave and gentleman, and the woman is that in the smaller countries which are not so much mixed with the uh, modern world, just they are like very tough guys. You understand what I'm saying? Tough guys, and then you see that when they go to the table, they are just I don't know, they are I don't know biting their opponents. They are there, like they are not there to arm wrestle, but they are there to fight.
Right.
You can see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because at the basis of the sport, it is a combat sport, right? It's two people
Yeah.
at the table, and it is it's a fight without getting punched, which is nice. But it is a fight at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But the people,
A question from Luke Engin. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but this is a question that people frequently ask. Do you have any exercises that you do to train for speed?
no, I don't.
Yeah, so far we've asked that question of a lot of super fast arm wrestlers, and they all say no.
I do train some of my kids for speed. Whenever I realize that they can't get themselves better without this training, and but for myself, I have never done in my entire life. Even when I go to the wars when I won last time, and except the final match, I flashed everyone basically. Even in the final match, it was long match, but I hit him the first. I was faster than him, and my reactions are slower than when I was like in my 20s. You understand? Now it's just much slower I am,
Hmm.
and I still hit the first. I think it's all about the concentration, because even those two table times that I did in 4 months, I pull in a slow control way. I didn't do any ready go match, but whenever I go there, when the referee says ready go, I don't know, maybe it comes something from the past, like memory. or I don't know if it's all about the concentration. You concentrate and then I don't know, you react. But I don't train for myself. But for kids, I sometimes do it. Like for example, if they do the wrist curl from the cable, they just hold and I said like go and then they react, go and then they react their wrist. I be do a few more things. I don't know how much it's helping them, but I see that they are slow and they can't get better. So I decided to train them in this way.
I always feel like for myself personally, whenever my hand feels really strong, I feel faster. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
control. You can it's easier to pin whatever you can control, right? So if I can control it with my hand, then usually I'm much more apt to explode into it.
There has been so many matches of mine that, I flashed the guy and then nobody realized, but the guy hit before I did. But nobody saw this because my hand didn't move, but I felt it in my hand, but I pinned him because I was stronger.
Right.
So like being fast is a different thing than being fat and strong. You understand? You not moving is different thing. Moving with power is different thing. Like I mean, you can move your hands so quick, but I don't know. Can you do that with so much strength? I mean, so much power. Can you do that?
Right. I
That
mean,
is what.
if somebody, if a 70-pound child moves first, they're still not going to win.
The truth is it is all up to how strong you are and how fast can you go to your max. How fast. If somebody puts your hand, like for example, I can do, for example, half motion, for example, 80 kilo squat curl.
Okay.
I hold the bar with two hands. I come to this position curl and slowly let my left arm go and I start, right? But how about if they bring the dumbbell here, just 1 inch above my hand, and then suddenly they let it go and I hit my hand, my arm would probably just crash. You
Yeah.
understand?
Mhm.
So, but because you need to just like to react, being able to lift 80 kilo and being able to react with 80 kilo are not the same thing. So that
Mhm.
is different thing. But this is one of the things that also very important. When I said that in the past I wasn't squeezing my fingertips, I was like this, holding loose, like very loose. If they pull my hand, it would and ready go. Poof, I was able to hit from there. I think the guy Corey Miller can do that right now. I don't
Yes.
think that he holds so tight grip, but he can just explode. Like crazy. The guy,
Mhm.
and then people don't even realize what he is doing. They need to catch him first because he's explosive. He's reaching his max much faster. You understand?
Mhm.
Because if they hit and then hold themselves tight before to catch him, they are already, how to say, they are already when you are tightening yourself, it is harder to move fast.
Right.
You understand? Because you are so much tightening yourself, your own self. He's not tightening, so he can move fast. And he is also, but the risk about not tightening yourself, if you can't, I don't know, react so strong, and then you will get crushed because the guy is already, at his max, he's tightening himself. But if you are strong, I mean, fast enough to reach your max from zero there, and then the other guy just get crushed unless he's so much stronger than you.
Mhm.
Right. He's going to at least have to catch you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, somebody like Corey Miller, the amount of momentum he creates is incredibly hard to stop it. I mean, there's a few people that have. Crazy George has this bone lock arm extension thing, but past that, there's not a lot of people that are going to stop that kind of momentum. Here's a question from Romania, Engin, about straps and how important do you think the forearm extensors are in the straps?
Forearm extensors
Yeah.
on the strap.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I never thought about it. I don't really, I don't know, focus on thing. I only train my forearm extensor just to create some balance with my uh, flexors.
Mhm.
More you do the flexor, everything you do this way and this way and this way, these tendons are getting weak here. So this way, because these tendons are getting shorter, and this is, pulling. That is most of my injuries happen. So with I put the rubber band here, so I do a little bit this way
Just
and
for
then
health.
hold my. Yeah. But I do, just because after a point you get injured. But I mean, I'm sure that they have their own technique to use their wrist extension in the strap. But I don't use it. I don't know, since I don't depend on it. I don't plan for it, so I can't say anything. But I cannot say that it doesn't help, because I can talk about something that I don't know.
Mhm. That's a good answer. So let me ask you this question, because several people have sent a question like this. Who do you think? I mean, I think we already know that your opinion is John Brzenk is the greatest arm wrestler of all time. But who do you think was the strongest arm wrestler of all time?
I think that the best guy to answer this is the guy who has pulled all the best guys in the history, and that is John. He pulled
Love to ask
Cleveland,
him.
he pulled Richard Lupkes, he
Yeah.
pulled Gary Rich, he pulled Alan Karev,
Mhm.
pulled Vaktan Yavahadze, he pulled, I don't know, Denis Shiplenko, Andrei Pushkar. I mean, that is why he is the legend. Can you imagine? And this question by itself proves that who is the best ever. You understand? Because a guy that last 25 years or almost 30 years, that has pulled all the best guys in the world. This even gives a clear question. Is the best ever? Not even a close second place. I know there are some guys that have their favorite arm masters. They say, "Oh, this guy is the best. This guy is the best." But I don't want to disrespect them, but it's just so clear. That you're gonna be at the top or near the top, for 30 years. And then when somebody says, who is the strongest ever guy, and then whenever I think that, okay, who has pulled all these guys to answer this? And then, you understand, it's
Yeah.
John, But I, I, I can have my opinion, but it wouldn't be correct answer. How can I have the correct answer when I didn't even pull any single of them, such a light guy, how can I know if Richard Lucas was stronger than, Alan Karev? I mean, I'm like, okay, people considers me as the best, but sometimes, when I say best, I mean about like some, how to say, like authority in arm wrestling, but I can only guess some things. And sometimes it is safer to say that, I don't know. You understand?
Sure.
Yeah, I
Yes, I
can
do.
think.
That's a good answer. I think people should say, I don't know, more often.
Yes, yes.
So, Engin, we kept you on here an hour. I know it's 4:30 in the morning or something over there. I would really love to get you back on the show sometime soon, because I learned a lot, and I think you have an incredible knowledge of the sport. And we don't get to hear as much of it over here in North America as guys over in Turkey and Eastern Europe do. So if you're up for it, we'd love to have you come back on sometime.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm available, yes, I
Yeah.
would like. The only problem is that your time there doesn't so much
Yeah,
fit
we do. We
my
do a
time.
special show for you. We'll do it like during the daytime or morning here. So for you, it's a normal time. We can next time we'll do it at a good time for you.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I can stay more if you want now, because it's month of Ramadan here. We are fasting. So before the show started, I ate and drink till that time, because I will be next 17 hours. I won't be able to eat and drink, and that's why I had to stay awake anyway. So it was. Now, but other times, if it's not month of Ramadan, I will be sleepy. At 3:30, 4 o'clock, I will be very sleepy.
That's impressive, man. Because you look a lot better than I would if it was 4:30 in the morning. Well, all right. Let me get these last two questions in before we let you go. Then, Engin, since we have a couple more minutes. Um, So, all right. So you sort of answered a number of these questions. I mean, a lot of stuff about training specifically. Maybe you could talk about something that we haven't talked about yet. And are there exercises that you do that you don't see so much being copied in other places? Are there any kind of like, I don't know, there's just different exercises you do that you don't see other people do?
I mean, probably yes. Like I think that I mean, I don't like to talk or sure of myself, but like for example, my pronator training, and I will be surprised if there is any better pronator training in the world, But it's not like only one move. There are some different moves in my pronator,
Mm-hmm.
and if I was, because it's almost 4:30 in the morning here. I'm not in the gym, as you realize, I'm at home, so uh, I can't show it here, but I
Let's do
have
that on the
some.
next show. We'll do it again. We'll get you when you're in your gym, and maybe we can do some of that stuff. That would be
Possible.
amazing.
Yeah, possible. But I am just thinking that, I don't know why I'm thinking, but I think I have the best pronator program ever. I think if somebody has better one in the world, I will be surprised. I don't know. I shouldn't talk that sure.
I want to learn it, man. I'm ready to fly to Turkey and do it.
I'm being honest on it. Okay, this is what I'm thinking when I am alone, so I don't hide it.
Yeah.
No need to act humble. You understand? But I am just thinking that way. Nothing about the hand, nothing about the wrist, bicep. I do very good trainings that one too. But about the pronator, I mean, I think that I have the best pronator training ever.
Look, is there one part of it you could describe to us?
No.
Okay, we'll do it next time. Next time. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, I think we answered all these questions, Engin. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I hope you can stay awake, and I'll be thinking of you for the next 17 hours until you're able to eat again.
Yep. Okay.
It was a
Okay,
great
man.
time. Thank you very much, and we'll try to get you back on soon because this was, I mean, many people said this was one of the best shows ever.
That's
And I know
so
you
good.
are a humble guy, Engin, but your knowledge is incredible, and I personally learned a great deal, and I think everybody else did too. So I really want to say thanks for staying up late with us.
I think it was my pleasure and honor. And hello to everyone. And thank
All
you
right,
for being with us. Okay, you
Okay.
take
take care.
care, guys.
Okay, my friend.
Take
Thank you very
care.
much.
Bye now.
Bye.
Yep. The only sad thing that I have is that this WAL bullshit had to happen tonight when we had Engin on because I think he's incredible and I wanted to talk to him for 3 hours, but I know everybody is really upset about this, and I am too, and John is, and we need to talk about it, obviously. And what I was saying earlier is the thing that really gets to me is that, I was thinking of Jordan Davis from Australia. He posted it was costing him $4,000 to get over here. He's not getting that money back. The airplane is not going to refund him his money. I mean, he can probably cancel the hotels, but still he's going to be in the, a hole for $2,000 for the flight. And I just don't understand how. It's one thing if you can't do the prize money, or if you have to move it to, a VFW, lodge or something like that.
Yeah.
But you still gotta have the goddamn tournament, man. All these people have been training their asses off. Rob Vigent was texting me a minute ago. He's like, this was going to be the year. I was going to show people, and everybody feels that way. They train their asses off. This is the third year of it, so people know exactly what to expect. Their training's been on point. They've been going for it 100%. We've been pretty supportive of WL on this show, even though there's been, some things we disagreed with. We've been given them the benefit of the doubt, and I personally find this decision to be absolutely unacceptable and unexplainable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's terrible. 2 weeks before. I mean, it'd be
It
one
makes
thing.
no
Even
sense.
even 2 months before would hurt. For these guys, I feel terrible for. We both have a lot of friends who are involved with this thing, and I mean, the sad part was the so much support over really when the writing was on the wall as far as how this thing about how the whole organization was running things and how they were viewing certain things. In the people that supported them no matter what, that's I feel bad for them just because
It's unacceptable.
just because they put so much support into it and so much dedication.
And you pointed it out, John, so many times on this show about why you don't personally pull in WL. The rule stuff, the inconsistencies. There's just some shadiness in the back. Herman Stevens has said the same thing. He said he was treated very poorly at a WL event. He never elaborated on it, so I don't know what it was that happened. But I mean, you just imagine all these guys from Europe from Australia, from Micronesia, throwing down huge amounts of money to come over here. And, they get no warning whatsoever. I just don't understand. It's unconscionable. And I posted earlier, Frank and Karen Bean and Denise Waddles and Leonard Harkos and Bill Collins and Anthony Laterio about, since everybody's coming over, let's do the tournament anyway. We're not going to be able to pay people 20 grand, but I mean, for Christ's sake, we can find a venue. We can get people down there. We can run this because everybody wants to know what's going to happen, I just feel like, we got to come together as a community and turn this huge negative crap load into something positive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think part of it, unfortunately, is that people need to understand that, like, there's never been anybody cool at the cool table. So, it's just it's a shame that the popularity contest won over for so long, because if it wasn't popular, then people would have backed out a long time ago. But also, it's really not up to, it shouldn't be up to all these promoters that have been doing this for 30 years, 40 years to step up and fix problems every time something
No, you're right.
up.
You're right. It's not up to them. They have absolutely no obligation to do it. You're 100% right. For me, it's more
I know
like
what you're saying, though. I get it.
What we always talk about in the show is the community.
Yeah.
And we've pointed out numerous times that the WAL, and Luke just pointed this out on Facebook here, that they're a business. That's what they were in for, to make money. They've not been able to make money. They didn't get the sponsors or whatever they were looking for, so they pulled out. We're the community that's left, and the question is, how do we react to it? Because I'm pissed, and I wasn't even going. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know you and I both know at least. I mean, talk about close personal friends. We both have at least half a dozen people who are going.
A lot, yeah.
that we see regularly and train with regularly, that are rip shit and upset and sad and everything else. And it's, I don't know. If anybody out there has our contact information and wants to call in, feel free to call in, because you guys can talk too. But I personally feel like I don't know if it's even possible to turn it into a positive in some way, because
Well, there is. I mean, listen. The positive is I think this part of this came up anyway. I can't remember, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were talking about Luke Kent, the situation where they brought him back and how we feel about it. And I said that Luke Kent is going to be in the sport a whole lot longer than the WAL will, and we're here. So I mean, listen, there's always ups and downs. So there's no arm wrestler is going to quit because the WAL stops. So what's going to happen is things like the Arnold and things like Nationals, and those are going to be more popular for a little while until something like this happens again. And it will happen again. I mean, it's just people need to be a little more careful when it comes to the lure of a few dollars in the limelight. And we have to be really careful about what we're giving away in the meantime. Because when a situation like this happens and all of a sudden there's no reason to throw rules out the window. There's no reason to, in my opinion, downgrade the sport from where it was and what we've been trying to explain to the public about what arm wrestling is. When we used to be able to justify it. Well, it's on TV. There's money. There's sponsorships coming. Blah blah blah. Well, not anymore. There isn't. So now, what's the reason? So these things happen. Everybody's human. But we just have to be more careful. These things. I mean, this could have been kind of, in my opinion, this kind of thing could have been slowed down a whole lot more, probably a year or two ago, if people would have stuck to what they really believed in, as far as what are you going to give us for, basically giving away our rights. You do it long enough.
That's another part of it. That's another part of it. It's like, sign this 2-year contract. And Engin brought this up. We haven't seen Travis versus Pushkar. We haven't seen Chafee versus Saipunkov again. We haven't seen, any of those matches we want to see. And never mind, all the other guys and all the other weight classes. I mean, Zoloev and Vigent or Hutchings and Sasho, et cetera, because of these stupid contracts. And now all the last 2.5 years of that, it's down the toilet for no reason, because they disappeared, without any warning. And it's I already said it's unconscionable, but it's just ridiculous. Alan Fisher says he has a lot of information he wants to call in, so I don't know if we can try to get him in if he's by his computer. But I would love to talk to him about it
If he
because I
is,
do
yeah.
feel like, Alan Fisher's the man. He knows what's going on. But I mean, just imagine, man. It's just like, how do you make that decision? That's what I want to know. I understand sponsors pull out.
Coldly. That's how you make it.
You know,
Yeah, it's
even with what Luke said and other people have said that they're a business, fine. But still, how do you make that decision? How do you say, wait a minute, we've got whatever 100 guys flying in here from other countries. We got another 200 guys or whatever flying from all around the country here. Already purchased their tickets. Already got their hotel rooms. Already took time off work, et
all of
cetera,
it.
et cetera, et cetera,
Yeah.
and just completely pull the plug with a 10% explanation that we were trying to do these sponsorship deals and they didn't come through. Then you need a backup plan, man. You put out, hey, look, we're working on these sponsors. That's how we're going to get the big prize money. Worst case scenario, if they don't go through, we're going to have the tournament in this location. We'll do what we can with the money, guys, but we're going to make sure the tournament happens regardless because we
Right.
know you put in the hard
Especially
work.
especially like you said, people are gonna be there anyway. Like I understand. You're right. Um it's just too bad. It just sucks. And yeah, I mean, all this for what? At the end,
What's the
all
point?
for what?
I don't know. Well, there's a lot of people that have committed themselves to WAL at the expense of various other things. Like me, I've been whining on this show for the last year about that we need more people going to WAF, the world title, the real world title, which once again is the real world title. But how could you really, especially, there's a lot of people in this sport that aren't walking around with millions of dollars like Steve Kaplan is. We're trying to make ends meet. We're, check that kind of stuff. So of course you're going to go to WL where you have the certain people in this country and other countries have the ability to win $12,000. Of course you're going to do that, man, because no other arm wrestling tournament can compete with that. And Sean Latimer just said it's a hobby, and it really is a hobby because of the fact that we don't have those big money events. And the WL was like the first real fish in the tank in that line in a long time. And you're right, John, because a lot of us bought into it, and basically, I mean, we got suckered. Simple as that.
Yeah, because the thing is really, I mean, there isn't a piece of it that didn't feel a little dirty, a little weird. Just as far as like, if we just look at rules, we look at the way things were run, we look at all this stuff that kept changing. It's never felt good. People have always been on the defensive, even if they're like the people who are really, really behind it, which I'm not saying you shouldn't have been behind something. Of course you should believe in something. If you believe in it, then you should talk about it. No problem there. But every time was always on the it was always on the defense of something that they have done, that feels weird right off the bat. But really, I mean, what were we chasing really? There's one dude who's going to win that money. The rest of it, they don't make their money back. As far as if you have to attend a major and you have to attend this and you have to attend that and you pay for all those hotels and planes, and you're going to come up with, if you're very, very lucky, you didn't spend any money to do this. So there's one dude who's going to win that money. So really, what are you chasing other than you're going to be a star in the arm wrestling community? Which, I mean, I can understand why that's appealing. But if you're always constantly defending what this thing is doing and what you're doing, then is it really worth it to be like, a arm wrestling star with your own nickname? It's not worth it. And then at the end of it, I mean, look what we get. You get basically a no chance to even prove that.
Well, here's the thing. You're right, and I do agree with most of what you said. But I mean, there is that. It's like, why do you buy a Powerball ticket? Because you have a 1 in 254 million chance of winning. You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning while being attacked by a bear than winning that. But people still buy it. And with this, it's like, people like Travis, people like Luke, who have very exuberant personalities, Mike Solaris, etc. You can't blame them for being like, wait a minute, people learn to like anything in this country. That stupid girl walks around saying "cash me outside" is like a millionaire for no reason. Why can't one of us have the same kind of success with some other kind of lottery? I mean, that's what basically it would be like winning the famous lottery, for being in a niche sport or whatever. But I mean, I feel like there was at least a decent chance it was happening because every time I bring up arm wrestling now, not every time, but frequently, when I bring it up. Someone's like, "Oh, we were watching that on ESPN." I was in a barber shop the other day down in not the other day, a couple weeks ago down in wherever the hell I was, North Carolina, and they're like, "Oh man, we watched that on ESPN. It was great. Do you know all those guys?" Da, 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 da. I mean, people are talking about it. So I mean, they didn't know people's names yet, but it's certainly more than our sports had in my memory.
Yeah, I mean,
So
no, I mean, I get it. I get it. And there was the positive to the whole thing, which was exposure, right? People were starting to understand that it was a thing. Because there's a lot of times, we all know it. We had to explain to people, yes, it's a real thing. Yes, there's actual tables. Yes, there's actually referees. And that was, that was being broadcast to people so they could kind of get an idea. Okay, this actually is a real thing. If I see this on ESPN, it's a real thing. But all those other questions that came along with it, when it was constantly have to be defended because, well, that doesn't look right. Well, that doesn't look right. And then a lot of us who have been defending those things for years and years and years.
even that though, I mean, when you think about it, half the time people are talking about sports, they're bitching about some call that was blown or missed, or that wasn't a foul, or he didn't score, he didn't cross the plane, or whatever. That's part of what makes sports fun, is bitching about when things happen that you don't like. I mean, we all do it.
Sure.
So even having those conversations was a positive sign in the sense that, people are talking about it. But I mean, that's over. You know what I mean? We're back to in the bars at the moment. I mean, it is an opportunity, man. There's a lot of stuff that's already been set up that hopefully somebody swoops in and takes it over. And, I mean, just imagine if I don't want to, pick one of these promoters out, but one of our, amazing promoters that we have in North America just swoops in and says, I'm going to rescue this event, and does it with traditional rules and, a normal tournament like the rest of us have come to expect. Then we still would get to find out what happens with all these matches we've been all talking about for the last 6 months. Because I still want to see them, and everybody texting both of us.
Anybody who likes arm wrestling wants to see those matches.
Okay.
That's definitely
Alan's looking for his Skype account. If you're on your computer, Alan, we can just try calling you and it'll pop up. So let us know where your computer's on.
Hold on. I got a text from a Mr. IVJ.
Yeah, IVJ. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, again. Well, Steve Pettis is saying WL is not over. They're trying to make something happen. I hope that's true, man.
I don't think they're over. I think this is at the one. I think they're canceled finals.
I don't know.
Usually, I think that's what
Well, let me tell you this. This is not the same sport, but in obstacle racing, which is the other sport I do, every 6 months, some company sends out an email just like that. Hey, we're reorganizing. We're going to come back bigger and better and stronger. They never come back.
Right.
And there's two reasons they never come back. One, they don't have the money to come back. And even if someone is rich, that doesn't mean they want to just throw money out the window, so to speak, forever. They want to make some money back at some point. If they're not doing it and they don't have a prospect of doing it, they're not going to keep spending the money.
No, that's
and
true.
Secondly, the other reason they don't come back is because no one trusts them. You know what I mean? If you say, wait a minute, I spent $4,000 to come over there to have a chance to win $12,000 or just to participate on the stage, you yank the stage away, I'm not giving you another goddamn cent. Yep. You know what I mean? Unless you give me my $4,000 back, which I, had to do a GoFundMe page to raise money and ask all my relatives and beg them so I could fly to the United States to do a tournament, and then the tournament gets canceled. I mean, how do you go back and face all those people you asked for money from? So if a WO comes back and says, hey, guess what? We're back on. 2018 season is going to be amazing. People are going to say, fuck you.
Yes, well, that's, I hope. That's what, yeah, come on. Like I said, the cool people don't sit at the cool table. That's what I've learned over the years.
You know what?
If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah, well, you were right. A lot of people. Well,
I don't even want. Screw that too. It just sucks that our friends are in this position now because they're our friends. Mm-hmm. But if you're me and you both know, there were people who were very, very heavy supporters of this whole thing that behind the curtain weren't.
Right.
We know this. There's no need to put names out there, but there's a lot of people that were very strong advocates of this whole thing that really weren't, but they were in the right situation.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can say is just, your gut is right when it comes to this kind of stuff. Most adults have a good gut feeling, and they should listen to it a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think you're right about that. But I don't think that's, yes. But it's like, when you get hoodwinked, you're not going to feel better when someone says, "Hey, man, I
No,
told
it's
you."
terrible.
I mean,
Right, and that's why it sucks. So we should all just
yeah.
admit right now that
But
this
that's actually,
sucks. And
but your point is a really good one. The point you just made about the number of people who behind the scenes were like, "I'm not so sure about this, and this rule pisses me off," but up front they were company men and
right.
women. They were like, "WL is the best thing we got going. Let's support it. Let's get behind it." These guys are the real deal. The only ones paying serious money. Their tournaments are big deals. Yes, I know the reffing isn't tight. I know Bart Wood doesn't have enough help, et cetera, et cetera. The rules are stupid, but just, trust us, guys. This is good. And all those people who did that sincerely because they believed it was going to happen, they all look like jerks now too, because they put all their, they put their money behind it. They put their mouths behind it. They put all their emphasis behind it. And if I was one of those people, I would be pissed off. It's like, wait a minute, you guys have me out here talking about how great you are, and now you've hurt my reputation. I mean, probably it's not going to.
Everybody had to sit at the table, man. Got to sit at the table.
The
But
good
it's
news is
okay.
because we're a
It's,
tight community, so we're not going to, I don't think any of us would, basically we're all going to feel bad for the people that got hoodwinked into being, salesmen for the WAL and then have their reputations impugned by them afterwards.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, they don't need to even know that we feel bad because it's not necessarily even that we feel bad when we do, but it's just that, listen, we're all human beings, we're all pullers, and it's not like the sport's not going anywhere. This is just going to be, a shitty time one day. That's it.
I know. You're right. It's easier for you and I because
it's way easier for us.
We're sitting here.
Sucks for them.
And I didn't pay money to go there. You didn't even enter any WL tournaments. But I can't stop thinking about these guys, and we know quite a few of them who've been, raising money for X number of months, like I said. And now, what do they have to show for it? And what's going to happen to make it right for them?
Yeah. It's just a shame. That's it.
There's a couple people I know saying there's things going on behind the scenes, and it's like, okay, well, look, if that's true,
why
aren't you saying that?
And why make that first post?
Why not just say, listen, unfortunately, we have to cancel this. We can't give out this big, but we're working on it. Please don't cancel your tickets. We're going to find some way to make this happen. If that's the case, that's what we should tell people. Yeah. It takes a little bit of the sting off it. Everybody wants to win money, but as you mentioned earlier, the title is pretty goddamn significant.
Yeah.
The WAL title is right up there with the WAF title. It's a big deal. Winning that and then everybody who wins it says they're a world champion. You can argue back and forth about that.
Yeah,
if you win,
you can argue that part, but you're 100% right. Where if you win that tournament, you're a fucking beast. So the competition doesn't go anywhere. The competition.
So keep the tournament.
Right.
Exactly. So keep the tournament. Everybody's already coming. You probably already have the brackets set up because the entrants are already settled. So most of the work, and I bet you, your bottom dollar, Frank and Karen Bean already did a ton of work behind the scenes to set it up. I'm sure Bart Wood did. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have already done quite a bit of stuff.
Sure.
There's no reason all that stuff can't be maintained and just move forward from there instead of being secretive about it. If there is something else going on, then tell us because we'll help. For Christ's sake, I want the tournament to happen too.
Yep. Yeah. It's just dark day, man. It's a dark day. It's just a bad lesson. Medicine doesn't taste good.
All right, we're gonna RVJ is gonna join us, and hopefully Alan will too.
Yeah.
So some of these guys have some information. Let's see if we can get RVJ on here.
Yeah, Vigent said he has to call in with his phone, so I'm gonna send him the number now. It's good enough.
Well, most of the time we have Rob on the show, he can't get Skype to work anyway, so that's nothing.
It's true. It's just his charming voice that comes through.
I don't know, Paul, if that's true. Paul just said if they can't pay the big money, some of the pullers won't show up. You're probably right that some of them wouldn't, but I bet. A bunch of them are watching right now. They could tell us. I'm just curious. I feel like most of them would still go. RVJ was still planning on going. I'll tell you that if it was going to happen. And I think that I don't know. Maybe some people wouldn't go, but I feel like most people would still go. They'd be able to offer some kind of money for Cripe's sake. I'll throw some money into a kitty to get them to go.
Yeah, whatever. But Robbie, you there?
I hear the little beep thing.
He hung up.
Hung up. So we scared him away, man.
Come on, Rob. Come on, buddy.
We're trying to call Alan Meister. We're gonna get him on, dude. We're gonna make it happen. This show is good. Like
we have our engineers on it right now.
Yes, we have them by phone, by passenger pigeon, whatever method of communication we can get. We'll get them on.
Hello,
Robbie.
Man, what the fuck?
I know.
Yeah.
I know, buddy. I wish I was back there to hug you right now.
I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't even know you guys were on tonight. My kids fuck with my computer, so it's down. But everyone's talking about inside scoops and shit, and I got the inside scoop. So
let's hear it.
Well, come on, man. Like, you couldn't see the writing on the wall. I told my wife, I was like, I gotta win this year. It's the last year. Who the fuck picks up $1 billion sponsor and they lessen everything? Their advertisement lessons, their forward motion lessons, everything lessons. When I went to the regionals with my sister 2 years ago, man, they had national anthems. They had a fucking stadium. They had a Teletron showing all the tournaments from all the qualifiers. It was this big fucking to-do. And then all of a sudden they pick up Monster, and it got less and less and less. Everything was less. It's a business venture.
Yeah.
Man, it stings. And, I really wish I could have touched on the whole Engin Terzi thing, because that dude really changed my whole arm wrestling. Him and Ron Bath really were pivotal in changing my whole arm wrestling theology.
Oh.
So it sucks that this comes on an Engin Terzi night, because Engin Terzi is probably my favorite arm wrestler of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But this bullshit is real, and everyone's pissed. And as soon as this happened, I went and hit the box wine and grabbed the fucking burger and said, "Come, bring the summer weight on." What the fuck we training for, right?
Would you go down there? Would you go down there,
where's Steve Green? Where?
Yeah.
Where would I go?
Would you go down there if they held the tournament without the money?
No, because you know what? You said without the money? No, fuck it. No, because what, them? No, because it's like getting cheated on.
No, not them. If somebody else took over. No, if somebody else took over, like Leonard and Denise or Frank and Karen or whomever stepped in.
It really depends. It really depends. You know why? Because I was at a point where I was chasing a certain level of glory, and I was at a point where I really feel like I was going to get it. I really felt confident that nobody in my class could beat me. I really feel like this was the year that I was going to really fuck it up. And now that this shook people, I would be banking on me going to that tournament, and all the people that I was looking for would go. Because if they don't show, it cheapens what I was looking for.
Right, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if they're not there and I go win a title, it's like, oh well, fucking A, B, C, D weren't there.
Well, yeah, you're not the guy
you're
not the guy showing up to a tournament and saying, "Yay, there's only 3 people in the class. I definitely get third."
Yeah, I knew for 12-5, I knew for the money and before all this bullshit, everybody was going to be there. So I wanted that. I wanted to come in hot. I wanted to showcase. I wanted to do it. I'm one of those dudes. Plane tickets booked. I didn't, I had quote-unquote trip insurance, but when you look at the fine print, trip insurance is like, oh, I'm sorry, did you die? Like, why'd you cancel your trip? It's not medical. So it's kind of like, I'm either going to Vegas or I'm eating it. And I lived in Vegas for almost a year, so I'm not a particular fan of just sitting by some bullshit pool with cockroaches that are as big as my big toe.
Dude, walk down the strip and sing with Elvis.
Yeah, no, I like those guys who flick the hooker cards at me. That gets me hot.
Oh, God, man. I can't. I really am pissed off about it, Rob. I just, like you. I mean, all these people spent all this money and it's for nothing. I mean, imagine if you're coming from Australia, $2,000-$3,000 for a plane ticket, and now you're like, hey, sorry, buddy.
No, that's a tragedy. It's a fucking tragedy. And the thing is like you say, the money's a bitch. But people are chasing glory. They're telling their family, like, hey, check ESPN. You look like a fucking asshole now. And, to not have some integrity, right? But here's the thing. These are the same people. Like, they're not arm wrestlers. They're not the gritty people like we are. These are corporate people that are the same fucking dudes who can smile at the person when he punches the clock to punch in, when they own a business and have 1,500 employees, right? And then by lunchtime, like they'll promote somebody last week. They'll give the guy a raise 3 days ago. They'll do all that shit, and then like a week later, go and pink slip like 1,500 people and go, oh yeah, well it's in our best interest to sell the company. And this dude's like, I just got a promotion. I bought a new house. It's like, well, good luck with that. Fuck you. Oh, well, I just bought a new car. What am I gonna do? Oh, well, go kill yourself. Fuck you. You're like, these are the same people. Like this dude, when people say, what are they doing? Man, this dude's getting on a plane. He was never into this for the love of it. He was never into this for anything other than a business venture. And when you saw him pick up big sponsors, I mean, Smith & Forge all over TV, Monster, all that shit, and the advertisement and the production and the prize money dipped, you know there's a problem. You know there's a problem. There's ways to turn tournaments for amateurs and blow numbers up to like in the thousands. And I talked to Steve about this, but you know what? I'm just a nobody from up here in New Hampshire. What the fuck can I know that I could be telling a billionaire this, right? Who am I? In some people's minds, money and success equates smarts, right? So why would they listen to me? You know, they don't see the past their little corporate world or their
that's the problem.
Thinking.
That's the whole problem, Ron.
And I told them, I was
that's...
like, you guys are fucking up. I called them and told them directly, I was like, you're fucking up with the amateur class. I'm telling you, like I used to tell Tim Brzenk when him and I lived together years back. I said, man, I could put on a tournament and get at a local tournament. I guarantee I could get 500 entries, easy. It's all in promotion and how you promote and who you promote to. They keep trying to milk the same people for the same fucking dollar. It's easy to expand, easy. Arm wrestle is something everyone in this world has seen or done at some point in their life. It's fucking the easiest thing in the world. You just got to promote it, put it out there right, and then run it right. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear any of that shit. I told them how to make it a college sport. Idea I had. And you know what? It got put up my ass. He just wants to make money on it and then turn it over and sell it and turn a profit. It didn't turn out that way. And then here we are. What? I would have been in Vegas on Tuesday, so I'm less than 2 weeks out. This is 2 weeks away from when we all would have been weighed in.
Right.
What the fuck, really? What the fuck?
Well, I think you actually hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, with this whole thing, I mean, if you think about every serious sports league out there, all of the administrations of those sports leagues have tons of ex-athletes on them. You know, NBA, NFL, whatever. They have ex-NFL players, they have ex-NBA players on the board, helping them make decisions because they know if you want to make decisions about a sport, you should have people involved in the goddamn sport helping you. Because no matter what you know about making $20 billion, you don't know shit about arm wrestling. And I get all these people like you and Travis and Dave and everybody else sitting around with 30 years of experience each underneath your belts, and they don't go to you. They don't ask you for your advice. They don't put any of you on their salary.
No, because we're just dummies we're just blue collar fucking dummies. How can we tell them about business? And that's where their ego exceeds even ours that are like the quote-unquote egotistical arm wrestlers, that they don't need the help. They don't need anything. And you know what the truth is? They never gave a fuck. And like I said, I told Heather, I could see the red on the wall. Like when you said when I was on the show last time, you go, oh, maybe 2017, because I talked about jumping in. And I was like, I don't know if 18, next year. I said, I don't know if there'll be that. Like I sincerely believe that when I see you pick up a sponsor like Monster and the production dips and it disintegrates, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's like saying, man, I won the fucking lottery. I'm gonna go move myself into a one-bedroom apartment.
You buy a Camry.
Yeah. Who the fuck does that ever? I'm trading my Rolex for a Timex. Yeah! Get the fuck out of here with that, man.
Right.
Like, nobody does that. So I was like, I was positioning myself in a way. I was like, I got to do it this year. Or it's over. And I mean, yeah, it's easy to say it's not going to happen now. And people are saying put on super matches and do all this shit. Certain guys are going to disappear. Certain guys have been making that money and been on top and feeling good. They're going to disappear. And, things are going to fade into the history books. And, it sucks for me because I wanted to, have a little bit of redemption. And I got a very unwritten chapter that appears it may stay unwritten. You know, maybe I'll have to go a different way and write my, book in a different way. Maybe I'll have to go the WAF route. Maybe now I'll jump a plane to, is AAA's already gone?
No, you can still go. It's July 15th.
Oh, see, I can still go out there, but I'm eating those plane
not
tickets.
only can you,
So
but you should.
So I could do that, and then I gotta, but that could be the next chapter. But then again, there's always gonna be that asterisk over your fucking head, and it's terrible. I mean, but you guys gotta understand what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a fucking beast that will smile at you and then give you a raise and pat your ass and give you a promotion and then pink slip you 2 days later. That's the beast. That's the corporate white-collar beast. That's what they always were. When Ron Bath opens a league, I'll believe he's out for the arm wrestlers. When a guy like fucking, you guys open a league, I'll believe you're out for the arm wrestlers. When some dude who never fucking arm wrestled in his life opens a league, I thank him. I shake his hand. I'm humble as fuck. But I don't ever really trust him. Trust that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand the beast you're dealing with. It's like getting a shelter dog. You don't just bring him home and not even know his temperament and let him crawl around with your newborn baby niece either.
That's
You
right.
gotta see it. You gotta understand how fucked up is this cat and what am I dealing with?
Right.
Yep.
And
You're absolutely right, Rob. You're absolutely right.
And you and I talked, Rob, about where we kind of felt this whole thing was going. Maybe a few months ago, where we kind of felt that the Arnold and Nationals and all that kind of stuff was going to start taking an upswing after a bit. And it sounds like that's exactly what's kind of coming up, huh?
Shit, Arnold's not too long ago was the premier event in North America. It was Arnold's, Mike Gould, and what was the Harley-Pull were like your premier events that I went to, at least. Those are Tahoe. That was a money event. So there's a couple, Denise Waddles and Leonard held some great events. There was a couple really, really solid events.
Mike Gould Classic.
And, Mike Gould Classic's amazing. Yeah. And so there was a couple premier events, and Arnold was always one of them. Arnold brought all the talent, and now of course, WAF has been the long stander. So, but I just said I didn't think they had the staying power, because once something is money motivated, no matter what passion, no matter what love, no matter how much cheering squad you have behind it, if the numbers don't jive, it doesn't fucking matter.
That's true.
And
You're right.
when you try to take a passion and a love, Sean Latimer says, "Oh, it's a hobby, guys." It's easy to simplify as that, but when you're trying to be an elite because you love something, but you love it so much, like you're obsessed, and you become the guy who's at the gym all the time, and some guys, like they sleep it, they eat it, they breathe it, they drink it, they eat it, they supplement it, they do everything. Like, it's like hunting. Oh yeah, hunt is a hobby. I don't know motherfuckers who make money off hunting. Maybe I'm not in the loop. I don't know who the fuck makes money from hunting. But there are dudes that buy magazines. Camo's expensive. Guns sure the fuck are expensive. Ammunition. You gotta buy a knife to gut the motherfucker. You gotta drag it out of the woods. You gotta take weeks away. You gotta rent a cabin. Like, I could go down the list forever.
You're right.
Buy
It's more than a hobby.
stands and cents.
More than a
but
hobby.
do they make money off it? But they love it. So let's not simplify it by saying, like, yo, it's a hobby. Like, that's what losers say. Like, oh, it's a hobby. That's a motherfucker who takes 18th place says. Like, yeah, it's a hobby. I don't train as hard because I don't make $1 million. Well, motherfucker, I go to a campground that people play cornhole, and all they win is a T-shirt, and they will fight you over a fucking fucked up beanbag. And I mean that. Talk about, here's how I know things are fucked up. I go to my campground. We do, like, cornhole, wash-taws, volleyball, and regular season, every fucking week. They have the same tournaments every week. It's called the weekly schedule. Dude, shuffleboard, cornhole, beanbag, frisbee, fucking can jam, whatever. 150, 200 people easily in every tournament every fucking week. That's mental.
That is mental.
When you go through bracket elimination for fucking wash-a-toss with 200 dudes at a campground that only has probably about 1,000, that means like 1/5 of the population is in what you're doing. And it's not like they don't have other shit going on. They have happy hours. They have bands. They have
Point taken. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do. I know exactly what you're saying. You're making a lot of sense. You're making everybody's head nod all around the country right now. Alan Fisher's going to call us. He's got some inside information. So,
All right, I'm going to sit back and watch.
yes, hang up so Alan can call. Thank you for the rant.
I got you. I wish you guys
Right.
the best, and fuck it. I wish I went to Old Orchard Beach.
Yeah, exactly, Rob. Just to hang out.
Josh, well, you got to come up to me with train.
Yes, we're
John, fuck you. You're still awesome.
Fuck you too, Rob.
all right.
Later.
All right.
All right.
So, Alan, I just posted the number for you to call in. If you want to call in, you can call in and talk to us about the stuff you got. Rob obviously is speaking for a lot of people when he said that stuff, and he is 100% right. I mean, everything he said is 100% right. And this guy, Tom, from Australia, just posted that 10 of them were coming. 10 people were coming from Australia and New Zealand to this tournament. So that's like 40 fucking grand right there. You know what I mean? Who's going to give that money back to them? I mean, where's that coming from?
No,
Monster,
yes.
you know, ESPN, Steve Kaplan. I just reached
Alan Fisher's voicemail.
Alan, you
Back
can
to you
answer
as
the
soon as I
phone.
can.
Oh, hold on.
Alan, we're trying to call you, but it's your voicemail picking up, dude. Somebody tell Alan to answer the phone. So
He was calling the whole
That's
time
a
that Rob was talking. It was causing issues.
now's the time to call Alan.
Okay, guys.
Here he is.
It's all working?
Yes.
Awesome.
What do you got for us?
Okay. So I've spoken to a couple of people that work with the World Arm Wrestling League and very close connected with it and with it since the beginning.
Yep.
And first of all, let me just say that the arm wrestlers from around the world that were actually going to be coming to Vegas, they're in a very difficult place. I know that these guys have trained really hard. They have made some major sacrifices, physically, put their families, money-wise, everything we can imagine. And it's a real difficult place for them to be because they're ready to get out here and show their stuff to prove who they are. You guys still there?
Yeah,
Yep,
absolutely.
we're listening.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. So I just want to say, really sorry, and I know that WAL feels like garbage. I mean, Steve just must be distraught about this. But bottom line, here's what's happened, is that they had some major sponsors, and lots of them, partners, media, everybody that was there supporting this event. Less than 24 hours ago, it just started tumbling like a set of dominoes.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost their major sponsorships. And WAL feels completely devastated by this. They tried to not hold off as long as they could. That's why they got a hold of everybody as soon as they could. And basically try to give people notice that, hey, you try to get your money back for your flights or your hotels or whatever. I know probably a lot of them won't, that's for sure. But some will. So, that's like the insider information of that as to what's going on. Is WAL finished? No, not at all, because Steve is actually working his tail end off to try to do something else going forward with this sport. He's put in probably well over $10 million just to support it. And for a fact that WAL has put on some of the best production events you've ever seen in arm wrestling. Really got it out there. I think for me, the sad part is I think our growth stopped when the game of arms came to an end, because I think it gave us most potential to actually grow our sport on the map worldwide.
Here's the thing, Alan. I
came in
think I hear what you're saying, man, and I have a lot of respect for you and every arm wrestler who's involved in it, and I think that everything you're saying is probably true. It's just like if you're one of these guys that just dropped the $4,000, I mean, the fact that Steve Kaplan did all this stuff is not going to be that important to you in this moment. I mean, my question for you, Alan, maybe you have some information on this. Why not just run the tournament? If you can't do the TV, you can't do ESPN, you can't give the prize money, just, say, listen, we can't do this. But if you're right about Steve, and I hope you are, that he's that committed to the sport, why not just try to run it anyway?
I get that because it still costs a tremendous amount of money. They've lost the venue. As far as the insurance that it would take to actually run it is a good couple $100,000 to do that. So, Steve isn't at the point where he wants to put the brand behind it because of the amount of expense it would go through. He certainly doesn't mind people picking it up, but they can't be behind it for different legal reasons or whatever. That's the first thing. When I got on the phone with my first gentleman from the World Arm Wrestling League, what I talked about was this: hey, why don't you guys save face? Because right now there are countless people talking bad about the WAL, just as they spoke about Marvin back in the day when he was doing his Vegas event. Mm-hmm. And I said, you guys, the guy who talked to you didn't have the authority at first, but I basically said, look, I mean, if you want me to get on the phone with Steve, I'll be glad to do that and just talk to him. So basically, they just, they're not going to put the WAL brand behind it. If somebody else wants to save it, it's entirely up to them.
Well, I hope someone does, Alan. Here's the thing: we've been supportive of WL on this show the whole time, and I'm super pissed about it. I'm not going to lie, and if Steve and Ben Murray and everybody was watching and they hear me saying this stuff, I mean, that's the way it is, dude. I mean, a lot of people are out a lot of money, and never mind the fact what RVJ just brought up, and you know exactly what I'm talking about here, Alan. A number of hours and family sacrifices and everything else that goes into training at that level so that you can then go compete against the world's best. That's a massive commitment. It's a massive undertaking for anybody. It requires all kinds of sacrifices, not only from you, but like I just mentioned, your family, financial, people taking time off from work, asking your family for money. All of that kind of stuff adds up to a lot, especially for individual arm wrestlers in other countries or here who don't have a lot of money. And it's going to take a lot more than, Steve Kaplan saying, hey, guys, I'm not gone. I'm still going to do stuff to make them, trust WAL ever again or want to have anything to do with them.
Of course. Yeah, I get that. That's really going to be a difficult thing. What if you put yourself, because they said if you guys were to run an event, they would get behind you and trust you, blah, blah, blah. And all your sponsors that you had, let's say you're going to give even $1,000 away to each one of the weight classes, right? Mm-hmm. And you were in a situation where your sponsors pulled out. What would you do? I mean, it's a really difficult situation. Arm wrestling, and I've been in this almost 40 years. The biggest most difficult thing for arm wrestling is to get ongoing good sponsors for the event. Robert Drenk did a tremendous amount of stuff for the sport. And
he's listening right now.
Certainly, that's cool. But he was there in a huge way. He knows what it takes to actually do this and to do it right. Bill Collins, I think, is another one. But there's only really, since I've been in this like almost 4 decades, there's been only really 2 people that have done, besides WAL, that have done anything. And I'll throw the Game of Arms in there that have actually had something done with the sport that gave it some stability. But Kaplan was looking for long-term stability, not short-term. How many times has there been an event, and I'll bring up one, for example, one of the greatest promoters of arm wrestling as far as putting it on the map would be Marvin Cohen. Marvin Cohen, I don't think anybody's even done what Marvin has done. He raised something like $250,000 in product sponsoring, which they don't do in the movies anymore. But again, what happened was that it was short-lived. Everything since day one has been short-lived. Look at the WAF. The WAF is one of the biggest arm wrestling gatherings in the world. And what do the winners get for a world championship? What do they get?
The title, which is enough for me. But that's what we talk. We talk about a lot in the show, Alan. I mean, for a lot of people, that's enough. Getting the world title, you know, it might be a medal.
Yeah, but
I mean,
then let's go back to the WAL. WAL is pretty much given.
Actually, let me ask you this, Alan, because you just brought up Robert Drenk, and we all know who he is. I mean, when WAL first came around, UAL was still kicking ass, and like, you know, it was really cool because we're like, wow, now the UAL and WAL both going together. There was like, for a little while, there was even some talk of like a Super Bowl between the two of them. And then, you know, WAL basically, whatever, I don't know. I don't think Robert got pushed out, but I guess he decided, you know, it was time to do something else. But when you look back now, which one of those events was better for arm wrestlers, WAL or UAL? I mean, the UAL was run with rules that we understand. I mean, those tournaments were awesome. I think pretty much.
Talking about the WAL rules, let me just tell you, those rules.
Well, what I'm saying is that the UAL.
They're not the arm wrestling rules.
Well, they still have them though.
Behind all that
Travis might have started it, but they didn't get rid of it. You know what I mean?
No, they got rid of some things. They definitely got rid of some things, and I think they need to whittle out a lot more than they do. I mean, trust me. Since day one, I've always voiced my opinion. In my opinion, arm wrestling needs to go back to the way it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying because you brought up Robert Drenk's name, I was like, maybe he can swoop in and save this mess. You know what I mean? I'm sure he probably spent enough money of his own personal money on arm wrestling already, but I mean, it's like, you know, at this point, there's all these people that have committed all this time and energy and done all this training who are all kick-ass human beings who are ready to go, and they got the rug pulled out from under. So it's basically like, look, we fucked up trusting the WAL, but if somebody else puts this event on, we're ready to go, you know? I don't know.
Well,
I really appreciate
the real problem. The real issue is, you know, if we talk about WAL versus WAF, and, you know, if you go to WAF, you basically just get a medal. The thing is, the WAF is always promised that all you're going to get is a medal, and then they deliver medals. So
that's the title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what can be more important than than going up against the country's best and coming out on top of that? Definitely great. It's just it's just hard for all the people right now. That's it.
Alan, thank you very much for calling in.
I agree 100%, guys.
I know you
really appreciate you. Appreciate the time.
Give it a week or so, and I'm sure that Steve Kaplan or someone that's going to represent them is going to let them know.
If Steve wants to call into the show, he's welcome, and we will treat him well. Let him know for us, Alan. But thank you for calling in, man. Much respect, and really appreciate you taking the time. Have a great night, dude. Man,
take care.
Yeah, later, Alan.
So that was nice of Alan to call in. I mean, Alan is a very positive person, and you can't say anything negative about him. And so, you know, I think it's great that he's trying to find the silver lining here. And I hope he's right. I hope 2 weeks from now we're like, all right, well, we thought they sucked, but they did all this amazing stuff, and we were wrong, and WL was still great. If that happened, then I'd be happy to come on here and eat crow. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, great. But in the meantime, let's try to figure out how we, you know, take care of all these people. Bill Collins is just putting the UAL always delivered, and that's true. I mean, people had different complaints about them, like, you know, everybody has a complaint about every league, so there's nothing new there. But they did deliver their events, you know what I mean? I don't know the story of why they eventually went away, but I mean, they were respected while they were here. There's plenty of people. Again, we both knew tons of people that were involved in the UAL. They didn't have any complaints.
Right.
So it's like, you know, maybe somebody will swoop in. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just I mean, like you said, Alan's a very positive person. I tried to keep as quiet as I could just because it's Alan Fisher. He's great. We all love him. But, you know, this whole thing's garbage. And, you know, garbage in, garbage out. That's all I can say about it. It's a shame, and I'm really, really sorry to all my friends, and I'm sorry to all those guys who are, you know, committed to coming over to the U.S. for it, because I just feel terrible. But, yeah, there's no reason to sugarcoat it. The whole thing sucks. And it looked like it was going to start sucking for a long time. So it's terrible.
Dude, I feel like I'm a positive person too. regardless of what you think, John, when you make fun of me when I'm not in a room. But
or in
I
the
just,
room.
but sometimes shitty things happen, and this is one of them, man. And it's like I've already said it 20 times now, but I mean, so it's wrong. So it has to be fixed. It's not right that all these people that don't have the money spent the money. And whether Steve Kaplan's the one who fixes it or someone else does, it's got to be fixed. You know what I mean? There's enough of us that we can pull together and do something. And RVJ is probably right. There may be some people that are like, yeah, I'm not going now. If I can't win the 12,000, it's not worth it. Or from his point of view, he wanted to go and beat all these guys to make a statement. And I'm sure there's other people out there that feel exactly the same about that. And they're not going to get that opportunity, at least not in the way it was sold to them. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wrong. I mean, if you're someone who's getting ready to challenge Travis Bagent left-handed, or if you're Jordan Sill, you're just joining the WAL and you want to make, you busted your ass cutting 35 pounds or whatever to make 195, almost killing yourself. Or like Todd Hutchings does that too. He's almost 50 years old. He's cutting 30 pounds to make 195. All these different sacrifices people made. What does that all amount to at this point? I mean, what's the value? And what does that say, about Steve Kaplan's honest love for the sport? Because if Alan is right and Steve does love the sport, and I don't know Steve Kaplan. He may love the sport and he may think I'm the biggest asshole in the world right now. But I mean,
I'm
if he
fine
really
if he
loves
thinks
the
I am.
sport,
I'm totally fine with that.
if he really loves the sport, then there's got to be some kind of rectification there for these guys. There just has to be, because it's wrong. Yeah, Bill Collins or Robert Drenk, if either of you guys wants a call, we'll call you. Just let us know. And you can talk, you can say whatever you like to about what's going on. But I mean, so that's what I hope happens.
Yep.
That if it's not Kaplan, that somebody else comes in and picks up the slack, because there's a lot of slack right now. I mean, you'd have to be able to run a tournament for 300, super high level arm wrestlers. So you need all the refs, you need a spot, but we know the people that can do it. I mean, Leonard messaged earlier that he was sending a bunch of refs, a bunch of his master refs were going, to the finals. They're already set. They're already ready to go. So, I mean, they're in place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I think the finals being canceled the way this happened or anything, it really just to me feels like the last thread of the rope. I mean, I don't think this is the rope giving way. I think this has been happening for a long time, and I think Vigent put it perfectly. It's integrity. There's been a lot of it losing it, and like we said before, there's a lot of WAL company men out there that are doing their damnedest to make sure that the WAL looks good, just like they should. And behind the curtain, they don't feel that way. So that should have been the huge red flag to anybody involved, right there. And it just sucks. That's all.
Yeah, you're right. And the reality is that a whole bunch of people are saying this, and a lot of them are saying it smarter than I am. It's just you don't trust people when you get burned in this way. You just don't. I mean,
No.
the WL can't come back from this without fixing everything they've done. So unless they come out tomorrow and say, you know what, guys, we heard you. We're going to run the finals. This is how much money we're able to offer. We're not going to be in a casino. We're going to be, in the Elk Lodge outside of Vegas or whatever, but at least do the tournament, man. You know what I mean? Recognize that these people put hard work in there, that it means something to them, that has value. The sacrifices they've made matter.
They made a huge commitment to it.
Exactly. I mean, not even just money.
No.
I mean,
no.
I mean,
They risked health.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, man. It really is ridiculous.
Yep.
So I don't know if anybody else has questions, if someone else wants to call in. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and whine for the next hour. I'm sure you guys have heard enough of it already. But, I'm definitely open for ideas. If anybody has ways that we could possibly save some of this. It seems like Alan was saying that the WAL is willing to let it be saved instead of fighting some.
I would think, but that's, it's pretty easy to say that. That's really easy to say. If I promised a $10 million event and I said, well, I can't do it now, but if anybody wants to do it for me, I'm willing to let them. I mean, that's just.
Well, just think about that statement for a minute, John. I mean, what kind of person would even say that? You know, I
point
planned
exactly.
this. I planned this whole thing. And we have these amazing plans and money. And oh, but you know, I can't do it. So if one of your buddies wants to take over, that's cool. I mean, come on, man. You know, if you're going to stay involved in it and you can't pay the money or you can't provide the venue, then you still got to provide the support. It's like, listen, we have the refs, we have this, we have that, we have these medals, we have whatever we have. Take them. You know, you want to use our logo? Use the logo.
Someone's calling us.
All right.
Let's find out who.
Let's find out who it
I
is.
don't know. Is anybody
Hello?
there?
It's a ghost. This is like the end of a horror movie, man. This could be anybody.
I hope they just walked in my door.
What
If
if
they
it's
do,
one
you
of
can
those-
see it.
we have a way for you to make $70,000 per week in just a few hours?
Oh, I
working
hope
from-
so. That'd be a perfect ending to the show.
Whoever called, it didn't go through. You have to call back. We'll answer.
Allegedly, it's still ringing. But I don't. Oh boy, let me go ahead and call back. Hold on.
All right.
Hold on, folks.
We don't know what it is. We're trying. We're going to get
We have
them
our
on
engineers working on it,
here. Yeah, our team of monkeys.
which is me.
So, who are you most disappointed for? For me, it's the people traveling from the furthest
Hello?
distances.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Robert.
Hey, Robert. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Man, good show. I've been listening.
Oh, thank you.
So, what are your thoughts on this gigantic mess, Robert?
Man, I got a lot of thoughts. That's what I can tell you. There's a lot running through my head. First off, I feel bad for everybody involved in this. You know, I've seen this happen once before. You guys all know that in Las Vegas, and you know, thankfully, Bill and I stepped up for the heart of the pullers and kind of put something together. And it definitely crosses my mind. And Bill and I kind of talked about it a little bit tonight. But like I said, first off, I feel bad for everybody involved in this thing. And you know, these arm wrestlers. Let's be honest, these aren't rich people. These are people that work hard for their money, take time away from their families. They saved up for a long time. They trained. They put their heart and soul into this, and then somebody that goes in there and promises them the moon just walks away scot-free and leaves all these people with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wrong.
I agree with you, man.
Yeah, it's just wrong. It's very sad. So, you know, for me, I never allowed that to happen, and I know exactly what happened in this case, in my own opinion. You know, in my opinion of what I can imagine from all the business stuff that I did with the UAL, and the reason why the UAL never really got to the level of where the WAL was pushing everything is because I wouldn't put my faith in something that I didn't have a contract on. So everything the UAL did was based on me sticking the money out of my pocket first, because my name meant something to me. And I was never going to put something that far forward and promise somebody something I couldn't deliver, or I didn't have 100% guaranteed to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that at some point in time, and I'm not saying this to be one of those guys that says, I told you so, but I knew at some point in time that this big snowball was just going to melt. And the reason why is because the whole way that WAL went about this was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say that or be that person, but it was just wrong. The format has to be super matches. The format needs to be background stories on people like RVGA and these guys, so that the consumer could get involved in and who the characters were and who the people were, not arm wrestling. I mean, we love arm wrestling because we're pullers, right? We do it because we understand it. But there's 3,000 of us in the world that understand what arm wrestling is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a friend of mine. His name is Targ. He's a guy from the TV show Flip or Flop, and he's been listening to the whole entire thing right now. And you know, he's like, "What the hell's arm wrestling?"
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's so. At the end of the day, we had to go about this differently. And I truly wish. And I made calls to Steve. I mean, I hope Steve hears this, but I made multiple calls to him, and I told him, like, dude, we should team up and do something together. I hate to see the guy go in and dump $5 million of his own money or whatever he did, and then it just go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I put $2 million of my own money in this sport, and I walked away from it because I felt like people were just jumping ship because somebody bigger and better was dumping more money in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was in it for the passion and love of the sport, just like Bill Collins.
Well, that's the point we were making earlier, Robert, is that there's a lot of guys like Bill Collins out there who care about the sport before everything else, and obviously have not gotten rich off arm wrestling. And it's like I feel like, as a community, there should be some way we can rescue at least part of the tournament, even if we don't have the prize money, if we don't have the fancy venue, that we can still, like all the things you just mentioned, Robert, the respect for the training and the commitment and the time and the sacrifices that all these guys put in. It's like there's got to be some way for us to recognize that and honor it.
I definitely think there is. I think there's a way to make that happen. I mean, look, there's some really good people involved with this sport, and there's people that have the means to make something like this happen. And this time it might take a collaboration of people, not just one person taking money out of his pocket and going after it. But I think there's definitely a way. There's a lot more people involved with this WAL event that crashed, and Bill, like I said, Bill and I talked about it a little bit. I told Bill my first feelings, I'll be honest with you, was, hey, a lot of people shit on me. I invested a lot of money, and as soon as somebody came in to dump a little bit extra money and chase it, they just jump ship on me.
Mm-hmm.
And and that kind of hurts. I mean, that's the truth. You sit there, and then all of a sudden somebody just takes off because they think something's bigger and better sitting there, when they don't understand that you weren't in it for the money like this guy was.
Mm-hmm.
You were in it to build something because you had a passion for it. And Bill stuck around this whole time. So
yep.
There's not a better person in this sport than Bill Collins. Truly mean that. And he's been there the whole time. He's communicated with me. And he's stayed in touch with me. And his passion for the sport's been there. And that makes me want to support arm wrestling. It's the good people like Bill Collins that, really love the sport. And those are the people I respect and I want to do something with. And I have the means to do it. I'm not, I'm definitely not Steve Kaplan with his money figure, but I love the sport. So anyways, I'm rambling on here, but I think that I'm going to try and keep an open mind to this. I know it's 2 weeks out. I've got to check my schedule. I don't even know what the date was. Maybe somebody can text me or email me and I can look at the dates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was June 29th, to be honest with you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand exactly what you're saying. If I were you, Robert, I wouldn't be even remotely interested in dumping a bunch of my own money after all, because you're right. You're 100% right. No matter what anybody says about the UAL, a bunch of people did jump ship just to get more money, and that is a fact. So, I mean, and Bill Collins was on this show, a few months ago, and he spoke very highly of you, and he told us the UAL was going to come back sometime, and everybody reacted really positively to it. So despite the fact that, it may not have ended or at least stopped for a period of time the way you wanted, Robert, I think people respected the UAL. And at least on this show, people have never spoken poorly about it. I mean, comparatively speaking, your events, and you mentioned them being run by Bill Collins, and they were run the way we understand arm wrestling, with the right rules and tight reffing and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that really is pretty much missed right now, at least by me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
I mean, I totally. We definitely did good with our events, but I didn't chase the business side of it. And honestly, I didn't have the knowledge of how all that stuff worked. I can tell you this right now: we almost had a television deal, and we almost had a big one. We were dealing with an agent that ended up linking up with a different group, and the TV deal went the wrong way, in my opinion. But that's kind of just what happened. Anyways, the UAL, I think Bill can chime in if he wants to jump in and tell you guys what's going on. But essentially, I owned a majority stake in Ultimate Arm Wrestling League for quite a while. Bill owned a very small, minor share of it. So I made most of the decisions. And Bill came to me and said, hey, look, you've been out for a while. Why don't you give me a run at it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be honest with you, I shut the UAL down. It is shut down. Everything is gone with it. I've sold all the assets that I had to Bill Collins. For a very minor price, really nothing. And Bill Collins is going to go ahead and start up a new UAL. I might buy a very small share of it just to kind of support Bill and be there in case he needs me. And I think Bill's going to take off, and he's going to take the direction of the UAL the way he sees fit. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went full bore with it, put these big events on. I mean, the event in Chicago cost me over $250,000 out of my pocket. Now, I could have sat there and said, hey, guys, we're doing this big money payout, which we did, this big, huge event. I flew in Bruce Buffer, all this stuff. And then 2 weeks before, I just said, oh, shit, guess what? My sponsors fell out. My venue fell out. Everything fell out. Well, the reason I didn't do that is simply because I put the money up myself.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody could think about the situation that's taking place right now and understand that that event was so big and so costly that I don't think the owner of that company was willing to put that much money up himself.
You could be
And that's
right.
what I was talking about, that snowball, you know.
We'll
But
have
at the
to
end of the
find
day,
out.
I praise that man for how much money he put into arm wrestling, honestly. I mean, any guy that's going to come in now, do I think he's smart? Not at all. I think the way he went about it, I think how he did it, completely stupid. But do I praise the man, and should everybody be thankful for what they got out of him? Yes, I think they should.
I'll tell you what, Robert. What I would like you to do, man, when you after you hang up, is like read some of these comments people are posting on this feed. There's a woman named Tara who just posted something that's very upsetting, man. And I think, you know, if Bill reads that and some of the other local promoters around there read it, they might be even more motivated to try to, you know, help this tournament survive in some fashion, you know. But we really appreciate you calling in, Robert, man. It's good to hear your voice, and I hope that we get to see the UAL in some form soon.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I appreciate you guys having me on. Have a great night.
Yeah,
All right, brother.
Robert.
Take care.
All right, take care.
So Tara just posted, you know, I'll read it to you guys. Her husband, Nick Brown, a heavyweight trained and sacrificed all year. They hosted events, traveled, promoted the WL at every opportunity they could. Their family of 6, including 4 young children and their mom, were preparing to head to Vegas as a family because they've been in this as a team. They worked so hard for the last few weeks, you know, in Chicago, getting sponsorship for them all, go to support making the championships, and they're devastated, which is completely understandable. Because now they have to tell their kids, they have to go back, and several people have mentioned this to the sponsors and be like, dude, I know you gave me all this money, but they canceled the championships. I mean, can you imagine having to go back to everybody that gave you money and saying that? I mean, that's humiliating, man.
Yeah, this is
So
terrible.
I don't know. I hope that all this negative energy turns into something positive and the tournament gets resurrected in some fashion.
Yep, that'd be great because I'm guessing there's still people that would be willing to go. So yeah, hopefully.
Well,
We'll hope.
I don't know, guys. We've been on the phone here with you guys for 2.5 hours. We probably said all the things we had to say. And
I
did all
can't
the
do it anymore, guys.
John's wearing out. John can't take the negativity, man. He can't take it. Look at him. We should probably all sing him a song real quick. You have the guitar, though, so if there's going to be singing, you're going to have to play the accompaniment.
It's true.
Look, but seriously, if anybody has ideas of how we can help, and I mean, even if it's a WAL, I'll do whatever I can. You know, if there's any small amount that we can help, we'll do it. And if there's, you know, anybody has great ideas, we're happy to support them. So, you know, we're going to have to work hard to turn this negative into a positive, but I think we're a strong community and we can do it.
I hope so. Well,
And Robert Drenk just said he's going to throw $5,000 towards the event, that's huge. I mean, that's money right there. So, I mean, that's cool stuff, dude. And so, I mean, like I said, that's one guy. And if we, Bill just said Robert is a crazy man at heart. But anyway, look, we got good people involved in this sport. They're aware of the situation. They're working on it. I have a lot of faith in these guys. And, you know, if we can help, we will do it. Like I said, I'll chip in, man. I'm not a rich man, but I'll send some money just to get some of these awesome athletes the tournament that they deserve. So, all right, guys, I really appreciate everybody listening in. I'm sorry about the bad news, and hopefully the venting helped. And let's see if we can do something positive in this week about it. Yep. Anything you would like to say, John, before we go?
No, other than just, you know, if it doesn't work out, you know, all my buddies out there that really committed all their time, and it just sucks, and I'm really sorry. That's it. Nothing else to say.
All right, guys, listen, thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back next week or maybe sooner. And if we have any news, we'll definitely share it on Hand Control Worldwide. And have a great night, everybody.
Later,
Take care.
Everybody.